This year is 1922. A small, dust filled town in the northern part of India, in a place called Harappa, stirs with excitement as British archaeologists dig deeper into the ancient soil. Their spades hit something hard. At first, it's just a piece of pottery, but as the day passes, more pieces emerge. Fragments of bricks, walls, and strange markings like something lost in the time begin to appear. Soon, a city long forgotten begins to emerge from the sands of history. But this isn't just any city. The more they uncover, the more they realize that these are not the typical ruins of an ancient settlement. These are ruins of a civilization far more advanced than anything they could have imagined. Who were these people? Where did they go? And why did they vanish without a trace? The Indus Valley Civilization holds more questions than answers, and the mystery only deepens as they dig deeper into this long lost world. Our journey begins around 3300 BCE, a time when the story of the Indus Valley Civilization first took root. It was an era of quiet beginnings where small, scattered settlements began to dot the fertile plains along the mighty Indus River. At this early stage, communities were experimenting with agriculture, domesticating animals, and creating simple tools. The seeds of a remarkable civilization were being sown. Fast forward a few centuries, and those seeds had begun to flourish. By 2600 BCE, the civilization entered its mature phase, a golden age that would last for nearly 700 years. This was no ordinary culture. It was an intricate tapestry of urban planning, trade networks, technological advancements, and artistic achievements. Cities like Harappa and Mohenjodaro rose from the earth, their meticulously planned streets and monumental structures as a testament to human excellence. At the heart of this civilization lay its remarkable urban centers. Unlike the chaotic sprawl of modern cities, these were masterpieces of order and functionality. Roads were laid out in perfect grids, drainage system carried away waste with precision, and massive granaries stored the grain that fed the populace. But it wasn't just the structure that impressed, it was the vision, the foresight to create spaces that served the needs of the many. By 1900 BCE, however, cracks began to appear in this once flourishing society. Rivers shifted their course, monsoons grew erratic, and the lifeblood of the civilization, the Indus River, became as much a challenge as it had been a blessing. Slowly but surely, the grandeur of the cities began to fade. People started abandoning their homes, moving eastward in search of more stable environments. By 1300 BCE, the Indus Valley Civilization, as it was once known, had all but vanished. As we peel back the layers of time, the next phase of the puzzle reveals itself, the very land where this extraordinary civilization was born and flourished. It wasn't a mere coincidence that the Indus Valley civilization thrived in this region. Geography, with its unique blessings and challenges, played the role of both creator and curator. Picture this: a vast expanse of land stretching from the icy peak of the Himalayas in the north to the arid dunes of the Thar Desert in the south. To the west, the rugged mountains of Balochistan stood guard, while to the south, the Arabian Sea whispered promises of trade and connection. In the heart of this vast and varied terrain followed the lifeline of the civilization, the mighty Indus River. This river, born in the highlands of Tibet, coursed through modern day Pakistan and northwest India, carving out a landscape of fertile plains and abundant resources. The Indus wasn't just a river, it was a giver of life, a bearer of sustenance, and a conduit for trade. Its annual floods enriched the soil, turning the plains into a verdant cradle of agriculture. Alongside it, the people of the civilization built their cities, trusting the river to nourish their dreams. But the Indus wasn't alone in this story. To its east, another river, the Saraswati, played a significant role in the early days of the civilization. Today, the Saraswati exists only in myths and dried riverbeds, but in ancient time, it was very real. Flowing parallel to the Indus, it supported settlements that thrived on its banks. Over time, as the river shifted course or dried up altogether, the narrative of the civilization began to change, a prelude to its decline. The localization of this civilization was not only agriculturally rich but also strategically pivotal. The Indus Valley Civilization spanned an impressive area of 1.3 million square kilometers, covering present day Pakistan, northeast India, and even parts of Afghanistan. Its cities like Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro, and Dholavira were meticulously positioned along rivers and trade routes. This strategic placement enabled the civilization to flourish economically and culturally, creating a network that connected distant lands. The people of this land were master strategists, using their geography to their advantage. The towering mountains of the north and west acted as natural barriers, shielding them from invasions while also providing routes for trade and cultural exchanges. These passes, such as the Khyber Pass, were gateways to Central Asia, opening paths to goods, ideas, and innovations. To the south, the Arabian Sea became a link to Mesopotamia, the Persian Gulf, and beyond, turning the Indus Valley into a hub of international trade. This unique geography wasn't without its challenges. The monsoon, while life giving, could be unpredictable. Seasonal rains were crucial, replenishing the rivers and sustaining agriculture. But a poor monsoon or a shift in rainfall patterns could spell disaster. The people of the Indus Valley adapted, developing advanced irrigation techniques and building reservoirs to store water. They learned to live in the harmony with the land, shaping their lives around its rhythm. Our journey now takes us to the mid 19th century during the height of British colonial rule in India. Railways were being constructed to link the vast subcontinent, and engineers eager to source building materials turned their attention to the ancient mounds scattered across the Punjab and Sindh regions. One such mound near a small village revealed a treasure trove of bricks. It was in 1921 that archaeologist Dayaram Sahani, under the guidance of Sir John Marshall, began excavations at Harappa. What they uncovered was nothing short of extraordinary, a sprawling urban settlement with its carefully planned streets, massive granaries, and intricately designed drainage system. A year later, R.D. Banerjee, another brilliant archaeologist, made an equally startling discovery near the banks of Indus River in modern-day Sindh. They lay Mohenjodaro, a city as grand and sophisticated as Harappa. The name itself translates to Mound of the Dead, an ominous yet fitting title for a site that had long been shrouded in mystery. As excavation teams dwelt deeper, the cities began to reveal their secrets. The unearthed evidence of unparalleled urban planning system, straight roads intersecting at right angles, residential areas separated from administrative and religious centers, and elaborate drainage systems that spoke of advanced engineering. But the discoveries weren't limited to infrastructures. Small, intricately carved seals adorned with animals, mythical creatures, and enigmatic symbols emerged from the earth. These seals, likely used for trade and administrative purposes, offered tantalizing glimpses into the daily lives and beliefs of the people. Yet their script remains undeciphered, a puzzle that continues to baffle scholars to this day. And then there were the figurines, executive terracotta sculptures, including the now famous dancing girl of Mohenjodaro, a bronze figure that radiates elegance and confidence. With her poised stance, adorned jewelry, and detailed craftsmanship, she became a symbol of the civilization's artistic excellence. Artifacts like beads, pottery, and tools unearthed of both sides spoke of a society deeply connected to its neighbors through trade. The presence of materials like lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, shells from Gujarat, and other exotic items suggested a thriving network of commerce stretching across vast distances. The discoveries of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro weren't just about unearthing ancient ruins, they were about piecing together a narrative that had been lost for millennia. As the excavations expanded and more cities like Lothal, Dhoravira, and Kalibangan came to light, the true scale of the civilization began to emerge. And yet, even as these ruins whisper their tales of prosperity and complexity, they hold back as many secrets as they reveal. Over the rediscovered ruins of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, a profound realization began to take root. These weren't just relics of forgotten civilization, but evidences of something much greater, a cornerstone in the foundation of human history. To fully appreciate the significance of the Indus Valley Civilization, we must step back and view in the grand tapestry of ancient world history. At the heart of the story lies a question: what does it mean to be one of the world's first civilizations? During the same period when the Indus Valley Civilization flourished, humanity was taking its earliest steps towards organized life across the globe. In Mesopotamia, the Sumerians were building ziggurats and codifying laws. In Egypt, the pyramids rose as monuments to the pharaoh's might, and along the banks of the Yellow River in China, Neolithic cultures were laying their groundwork for dynastic rule. Yet, the Indus Valley stood apart in its own quiet brilliance. Unlike the kingdoms of Mesopotamia and Egypt, which often centralized part in the hands of divine kings, the Indus cities lacked grand palaces or tombs. What emerged instead was a society that prioritized communal well being, equality, and functionality. Its cities were meticulously planned not to glorify rulers but to ensure a high quality of life for its people. The sheer scale of its urban planning was unprecedented. The grind like city layouts of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro were centuries ahead of their time, rivaling the best examples of urban organizations in later eras. Their drainage system in particular stand as a marvel of engineering unmatched by contemporary civilizations. While Mesopotamian cities struggled with sanitation and flooding, the Indus Valley civilization thrived in their efficiency, showcasing an advanced understanding of civil engineering. The Indus Valley Civilization was a vital hub in ancient world's interconnected trade networks. Its craftsmen produced goods of exceptional quality, beads, pottery, and textiles that were sought after far and wide. The presence of Indus Valley seals and artifacts in Mesopotamian cities like Ur and Sumer provides evidence of a thriving trade relationship. These connections suggest that the Indus Valley was not an isolated entity but an integral part of a larger global exchange system that spanned continents. The civilization's script, though still undeciphered, hints at a sophisticated system of communication. The seals and inscriptions discovered at various sites suggest an organized administrative network, perhaps one used to regulate trade, resource distribution, or religious practices. The tantalizing mystery of this script places the Indus Valley among the pioneers of early writing systems, a feat shared with the cuneiform of Mesopotamia and the hieroglyphs of Egypt. The Indus Valley civilization had the knowledge of weights and measures, as seen in their standardized cubes and scales, indicates an emphasis on precision and commerce. Their expertise in metallurgy, crafting tools, and ornaments from copper and bronze places them firmly in the Bronze Age, aligning them yet with other advanced cultures of the time. Yet, perhaps the most striking aspect of Indus Valley civilization is its peaceful nature. Unlike Mesopotamia and Egypt, which bear the scars of frequent wars and invasions, the archaeological record of the Indus Valley reveals an absence of fortification and weapons of war. This raises a compelling question: how did a civilization of such magnitude maintain stability for centuries without resorting to violence? Was it diplomacy, trade, or a deeply ingrained cultural ethos of harmony? While Mesopotamia gave us the first codified laws and Egypt awed us with its monumental architecture, the Indus Valley showcased the power of egalitarian urban planning, environmental harmony, and economic networks. Before the cities rose, the vast plains of the Indus and its tributaries were dotted with small scattered communities of early farmers. It was here around 7000 BCE, in a place now known as Merhagar, modern day Balochistan, Pakistan, that the seeds of the civilization were first sown. Mehergarh is often called the cradle of the Indus Valley civilization. And for good reason, archaeological excavations at this site have revealed a thriving Neolithic settlement where humans took their first steps toward a more settled way of life. The people of Mehergarh were pioneers, domesticating plants and animals, growing barley and wheat, and herding sheep, goats, and cattle. They crafted tools from stone, shaped pottery by hand, and built simple mud brick houses. These early agriculture practices marked a monumental shift in human history, the transition from nomadic lifestyle to settled communities. With this stability came the ability to produce surplus food, which in turn allowed populations to grow and thrive. Over time, these small farming villages began to expand both in size and sophistication. But what made the Indus region so uniquely suited for the birth of a great civilization? The answer lies in its geography. The Indus River, originating in the Himalayas, carved a fertile alluvial plain as it meandered toward the Arabian Sea. Its seasonal floods, much like those of the Nile, deposited nutrient rich salt across the land, creating ideal conditions for agriculture. The network of rivers Indus, Ravi, Bees, Satluj, and Ghaggar Hakra provided a reliable source of water, enabling the cultivation of crops even in arid regions. As centuries passed, the early settlements along these rivers began to experiment with new agriculture techniques. Evidence suggests that these communities were among the first to practice irrigation, digging channels to control the flow of water to their fields. This innovation not only improved crop yields but also allowed agriculture to spread to areas farther from the river banks. By 4000 BCE, these villages were evolving into larger, more complex communities. Trade began to flourish both within the region and with neighboring areas. Artifacts such as beads, pottery, and tools found in the early settlements hint at a growing specialization of labor. Some people focused on farming, others on crafting, and still others on trading goods. This division of labor was a critical step towards the development of urban centers. It was also during this period that we see the emergence of a shared cultural identity. The pottery styles, tools, and burial practices across early settlements like Mehergarh show remarkable uniformity, suggesting that these communities were beginning to think of themselves as a part of a larger whole. Around 3300 BCE, this network of interconnected villages underwent a dramatic transformation. The agriculture surplus, combined with advancements in technology and trade, set the stage of the rise of the first cities. Settlements like Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro emerged as bustling urban centers, complete with planned streets, drainage systems, and sophisticated governance. The transition from humble agriculture settlements to thriving urban centers was not an overnight phenomenon. It was the result of centuries of innovation, adaptation, and collaboration. It represents one of the humanity's greatest achievements, the ability to transform the raw resources of nature into the foundations of a complex, interconnected society. At the heart of the Indus Valley Civilization's brilliance lie its urban planning. Unlike the disorganized sprawl of many ancient settlements, the cities of Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro, and others were laid out with mathematical precision. The streets intersected at right angles, forming a grid system that modern urban planners would admire. The main roads were wide, some stretching up to 30 feet, allowing for easy movement of carts and people. Side streets were narrow but still uniform, ensuring that every corner of the city was accessible. The roads were often paved with baked bricks, a testament to the advanced construction techniques of the time. But what stands out even more is the evidence of zoning. Cities were divided into residential, commercial, and public areas. The organized layout speaks to a highly developed sense of governance and foresight. The cities were dominated by a citadel, a raised, fortified area that stood as the center of administrative and possibly religious activities. Built on an elevated platform, the citadel offered protection against floods, a recurring threat in the region. Structures within the citadel included granaries, assembly halls, and the famous Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro, which we will revisit shortly. The granaries were massive with ventilation ducts to keep stored grains fresh, showcasing the importance of central food distribution and storage. This elevated area also provided an excellent vantage point for city administrators or leaders to oversee the functioning of the city below. One of the most remarkable aspects of Indus Valley architecture was its standardization. Whether you were in Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro, or smaller settlements like Kalibangan, you would notice that the bricks used for constructions were uniform in size, typically in a ratio of 4:2:1. This consistency wasn't limited to bricks but extended to weights, measures, and even the layout of houses. Why was this standardization so significant? It suggested a centralized authority that oversaw construction and ensured uniformity across the civilization. This level of coordination is rare in ancient civilizations and speaks to the organizational capabilities of the Indus people. At the heart of Mohenjo-Daro citadel lies the Great Bath, a massive rectangular water tank measuring approximately 39 feet long, 23 feet wide, and 8 feet deep. Surrounded by colonnaded walls, the bath was meticulously constructed with tightly fitted bricks and a layer of natural tar to make it waterproof. Staircases led into the bath, suggesting it was designed for easy access. Nearby rooms likely served as changing areas, and drains ensured that water could be easily emptied and replaced. While its exact purpose remains a mystery, many believe the Great Bath had a ritualistic significance, possibly linked to purification ceremonies or religious practices. Its presence underscores the Indus Valley's focus on sanitation and communal spaces. The residential areas of Indus Valley cities were equally impressive. Houses ranged from modest single room structures to larger multi rooms homes with courtyards. These homes were made from the same standardized bricks and often featured flat roofs, which could have been used for sleeping during warm nights. The homes were equipped with private wells for water and drainage systems that connected to the city's main sewage network, a level of infrastructure that was unheard of in the most ancient civilizations. Doorways and windows were strategically placed to ensure privacy. For example, houses rarely opened directly onto the main streets, opting instead for entrances on side alleys. This thoughtful design reflects an awareness of both comfort and security. The drainage system of the Indus Valley Civilization is perhaps its most outstanding feature. Every house was connected to a well planned network of drains that ran along the streets. These drains were covered with stone slabs, making them both functional and safe. Larger trains ran along main streets and were connected to smaller ones from individual houses. There were even inspection holes built into the system, allowing for maintenance and cleaning. This focus on sanitation wasn't just about practicality, it reflects a society that prioritized public health and cleanliness, a rarity in ancient times. At the center of most cities were bustling marketplaces. These commercial areas were carefully integrated into the urban layout with shops and stalls lining the main streets. Artisans, traders, and farmers would gather here to sell their goods, creating a vibrant economic hub. Artifacts like stone, weights, seals, and pottery found in these areas suggest a well regulated economy. Standardized weights indicate the trade was conducted with fairness and consistency. Unlike other ancient civilizations such as Mesopotamia or Egypt, the Indus Valley lacks clear evidence of palaces, grand temples, or ostentatious tombs. This has led many scholars to believe that the society was relatively egalitarian. There seems to have been no dominant ruling class or visible monarchy. Instead, governance may have been decentralized or led by a council of elites or merchants. Artifacts like seals and weights suggested a society that valued trade and economic regulation over military consequence of display of power. Yet, the presence of citadels in cities like Mohenjodaro and Harappa indicates some form of organized administration. Although the absence of grand palaces suggested egalitarianism, subtle clues point to the existence of a hierarchical society. Housing layout: the citadel areas likely housed the elite or administrative class, given their strategic positioning and proximity to important structures like granaries and baths. Residential areas reveal varying house sizes. Smaller single room homes may have belonged to laborers or artisans, while large multi rooms homes with courtyards were likely owned by merchants or wealthy families. Artisan and craft workers, the discovery of workshops and tools indicates a significant population of skilled artisans, including potters, bead makers, and metallurgists. These artisans played a vital role in creating goods for local use and export, pointing to their respected position in society. Farmers and laborers. The rural settlements surrounding cities suggest a class of farmers who formed the backbone of the civilization's economy. These individuals cultivated crops like wheat, barley, and cotton to sustain the urban centers. Laborers likely worked on large infrastructure projects including granaries, drainage system, and city walls. The Indus Valley Civilization stands out for its apparent lack of weaponry in the archaeological record, whilst tools like arrowheads and spear points have been found. They are few compared to the contemporary civilization. This suggests a society that placed greater emphasis on trade, craftsmanship, and agriculture rather than warfare. Artifacts such as figurines and seals often depict animals and symbolic motifs, hinting at shared cultural beliefs that may have fostered unity and cooperation among the population. While the Indus Valley civilization didn't leave behind grand temples or religious texts, archaeological finds provide glimpse into their spiritual life. Seals depicting a proto Shiva figure seated in a yogic posture suggest early forms of religious worship tied to fertility and nature. Terracotta figurines of women, often associated with fertility, hint at the possible worship of a mother goddess. Ritualistic structures such as the Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro indicate the importance of purification and communal rituals. Religion likely played a unifying role in society, guiding daily practices and fostering social cohesion. The terracotta figurines of women and the absence of male dominated iconography have led some scholars to speculate that women held a significant place in Indus Valley society. The figurines emphasize fertility, beauty, and adornment, suggesting that women were reversed, possibly a life giver or spiritual figures. Jewelry and ornaments found at excavation sites indicate that women enjoyed a certain degree of economic and social independence, as these items were not limited to elite burials. While there is no direct evidence of gender equality, the lack of explicit male dominance in the archaeological record hints at a balanced societal structure. The treatment of the dead provides further insights into the social structure. Burial sites reveal a standardized approach, with bodies often interred in simple rectangular pits, along with personal items like pottery, beads, and tools. The absence of extravagant tombs and treasures suggests a society that valued practicality over opulence even in death. Grave goods indicate a belief in an afterlife, as people were buried with items they might need beyond this world. These practices reflect a society that valued modesty and uniformity even across different social stratus. The daily lives of the Indus Valley people were intricately tied to their environment and professions. Family life. Families likely formed the core unit of society, with multi generational households common in larger homes. Courtyards in homes served as a spaces for family gatherings, food preparation, and relaxation. Occupations. Farmers grew crops like wheat, barley, and peas, while herders raised cattle, goats, and buffalo. Artisans created pottery, beads, and metal goods, many of which were exported to distant lands. Leisure activities, dice, and board games, as evidenced by small terracotta game pieces, were a popular pastime. Children likely played with terracotta toys such as animal figurines with movable parts. Trade was a unifying force in Indus Valley society, connecting people across regions and fostering interdependence. The standardized weights and measures found in marketplaces pointed to regulated economy, ensuring fairness and equality in trade. Merchants were likely a respected class, facilitating the exchange of goods such as beads, metals, and textiles with distant civilizations like Mesopotamia. The foundation of the Indus Valley economy lay in its agriculture. The fertile plains of the Indus River, enriched by annual flooding, provided an ideal setting for farming. Crops like wheat, barley, lentils, sesame seeds, peas, and even cotton were cultivated extensively. Cotton cultivation was particularly revolutionary, as the Indus Valley people were among the first in the world to grow and weave cotton into textiles. Surplus agriculture production not only sustained the population but also fueled trade by providing a steady supply of goods for exchange. Livestock complemented agriculture. Cattle, buffalo, goats, and sheep were reared, serving as source of food, labor, and trade. Bullock carts were common, facilitating the transportation of goods across regions. The Indus Valley was renowned for its skilled artisans who produced a wide variety of goods. Pottery. Exquisitely crafted and painted pottery was both functional and decorative. Bead making. Semi precious stones like carnelian, agate, and jasper were fashioned into beads, a hallmark of Indus craftsmanship. These beads were highly valued in foreign markets. Metalwork. The civilization excelled in working with copper, bronze, and occasionally gold and silver to create tools, ornaments, and household items. Textiles. The spinning and weaving of cotton and wool resulted in high quality fabrics. Workshops and furnaces unearthed in cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro suggest a robust artisanal industry with goods produced on scale large enough to support both local consumption and export. The Indus Valley Civilization was a hub of trade linking its cities with each other and with distant lands. Internal trade. Cities like Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro, and Lothal were connected by a network of roads and waterways. Standardized weights and measures ensured consistency and fairness in trade. The discovery of granaries hints at centralized storage and redistribution of goods, possibly under the oversight of merchants or local authorities. External trade. The civilization had active trade links with Mesopotamia, Central Asia, and even parts of the Persian Gulf. Indus seals have been found in Mesopotamian cities like Ur and Akkad, indicating direct trade relations. Goods like cardinal beads, lapis lazuli, ivory, and textiles were exported, while the Indus Valley imported silver, tin, and precious stones. Maritime trade flourished as evidenced by references to Meluha, believed to be the Indus Valley in Mesopotamian text. Lothal, located near the Gulf of Kambat in present-day Gujarat, was a critical trading hub. The city's dockyard and architectural marvel provided evidence of maritime trade on a large scale. The dockyard, measuring 218 by 37 meters, was connected to the Sabarmati River, enabling ships to load and unload goods. Lothal was a center for bead making and shell ornament production, with goods transported both inland and overseas. The presence of warehouses near the dockyard suggested meticulous organization of goods for trade. The Indus Valley Civilization demonstrated remarkable consistency in its economic practices. Weights and measures. Cubical stone weights of varying sizes have been found across multiple sites, indicating a standardized system of trade. Seals. Thousands of intricately carved seals, often bearing animal motifs and inscriptions, were used to mark ownership, goods, and possibly contracts. These seals were crucial in maintaining trust in long distance trade. Granaries. Massive granaries in cities like Harappa suggest centralized storage of surplus grains, likely used as a form of currency or barter. Though there is no evidence of a monetary system, trade in the Indus Valley operated on a barter system. Goods were exchanged based on their value, with agricultural produce, textiles, and crafted items serving as primary trade commodities. The economic prosperity of the Indus Valley Civilization allowed its cities to flourish. A thriving economy supported the development of sophisticated urban centers with well planned streets, drainage system, and public amenities. The division of labor enabled individuals to specialize in various crafts. fostering innovation and economic efficiency. Trade and economic interdependence likely contributed to the relative peace and harmony of the civilization, as indicated by the minimal evidence of a large scale warfare.